Hi everyone, my name's Nina and I'm the founder of Modac Tutoring. In this video, I take you into one of my lessons and you're going to be my student. So, for safeguarding purposes, the voices of and names of my students have been edited out. But we will be looking at essay writing. I'm going to take you through the basics of what is an essay, what's the point, and most importantly, what is the difference between GCSE essays and A-level essays? And I'm going to be showing you how you can go from GCSE to A-level and what they didn't tell you at GCSE. So without further ado, let's get straight over to the lesson. Enjoy. When we're looking at essay writing, I'm just going to change my colour so that you can expect. Okay, so now I am going to take some of this and probably confuse you a little bit because I'm going to say some of this is wrong, but not wrong for GCSE, but it's wrong for A-level. Okay, so when we're going to start with essay writing. Now the aim of essay writing, we have two different types of writing. So we have descriptive writing and we have persuasive writing. Now, descriptive writing is where you explain, you say how to do something, it's like instructions. Now, persuasive writing is the aim is to change someone's mind. In an essay, we do use descriptive writing, but an essay, especially if we're writing at A-level, is not descriptive generally. It is persuasive. We want our aim when we write an essay, a good essay anyway, is persuasive. We want to present our point and say, this is what I think. So here, when we were talking about telling someone how you see it, this is your opinion. And you're going to argue this your opinion to persuade someone to it. So we persuade your reader to change their mind. And this is the whole aim of essay writing. We want it is persuasive. When it comes to the structure of a persuasive essay. Now, length actually is determined based on usually the number of words you've been given for your assignment. So you could do a persuasive essay, it could be really short, but it could also be quite long. So if you went to university, you would be writing on average, a small essay would be 1,500 words, but you would hope you usually hope to get 2,000 plus, because otherwise there's just not enough space, or it feels like there's not enough space. But you could write a persuasive essay that's like 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 words. So a dissertation in your final year of university is 10 to 12,000 words. If you're going on to even higher education, you're writing even more than that. scholars write books that are many hundreds of thousands of words, and they're persuasive. So when we write something, it needs to adhere to the guidelines that and the grading criteria that we've been given, but also it doesn't have to be short. So when it comes to word length, so paragraphs actually at GCSE are 4 to 5 lines. That is not really the case at A level, so I'm going to cross it out. If you're looking at paragraphs, generally, a good paragraph is 100 words minimum or 10 sentences. That is what you're going to be aiming for now. Because in 4 to 5 lines, I mean, it's fine at GCSE because you do your point, you do your evidence, you do your explanation, and you do your link sentence. So that's your peel structure. But if you are going to persuade someone to a point of view, you can't just tell them what the point is. You have to explain your evidence. You have to give more evidence, actually. And you need to prove why your evidence supports your point, which needs a far more in-depth level of analysis. And this is why we need at least 100 words to be able to do that, or 10 sentences. You'll probably be writing some paragraphs that are longer than that. Usually if my students have paragraphs that are a whole typed page, that's a bit too long. But only if all the points do not support the point you're making in the paragraph. So let's talk about persuasive essay structure. So in a basic essay, we have, number one, we have our intro, so our introduction. We have our body paragraphs. And you need 3 at a minimum. So that'll be paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. And then your conclusion. And throughout these 5 paragraphs, so an essay, roughly, a basic essay is 5 paragraphs. But you'll probably find that you'll be writing more than that because you need to develop your argument more. Now, okay, so yeah, sure. So body paragraphs are the paragraphs you use to support your point. So body paragraphs is the body of the essay. Oh yeah, you need 3 different paragraphs. Yeah, so I've just done it in one because I'm running out of space, 1 line. But so the Roman numerals here, so you've got paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and then paragraph 5. Yeah, we will do, I'm going to show you an essay structure as well, and I've written some articles on paragraph structure, so I'll send you the links to those as well so that you can have a look, and it will explain, it will I've written it out in like a blog article, and I'm doing some videos on it as well, so you won't be just left with this. And obviously we're going to keep going over this over the next couple years. You will keep going over this, but I want to give you structure because with this structure, you're going to be able to figure out how to write an essay in the most logical manner possible, which is what you want at this point. Okay, right, next I'm going to talk about so we're going to continue with structure. So you said we must use paragraphs, that's correct. Must use paragraphs. Do you know what a paragraph is for? Yeah. Yes, so each paragraph discusses one point. It's 1 point, one idea. And then the way you can think of, so within paragraphs, they're made up of sentences. And you can think about it like this. Sentences are one thought. So, for example, let's think of an example. So if we're looking at football, I know nothing about football, but you know a lot about it. So if you were thinking about it in this way, so if you were going to argue who is the best player of all time, for example, you would have an idea about that, I assume. Okay, who's the best player of all time, in your opinion? Messi. Okay, I have no idea who that is. But if we were going to write an essay about it, discussing who's the best player of all time, that would be your discussion. Your point, your argument you're going to make is that Messi is the best player of all time. Why is he the best player of all time? Well, he's got to be good at something to be able, like, is it, he's good at everything. Okay, so for 1 point you can make is that he's an all-rounder. So he's good at dribbling. He's good at running. Okay, well, okay, passing, shooting. Okay, does he score goals? A lot of goals. Okay, so would you say that scoring goals kind of helps you become the best player of all time? Yeah. Yeah, it would be, because it's how you win the game. Okay. Okay, so your measure, one of your measures in this to prove that he's the best player of all time is that he scores lots of goals. So if we were going to write a paragraph on the fact that he scores lots of goals, you would have thoughts on this one idea, this point that you want to make. So if you were saying that so one thought could be in comparison to his teammates, for example, he scores more goals than them on average. That would be one thought. You could also then say that his ability to be in the right place at the right time, to get the ball, to score the goal, is another thought. And that would go within that paragraph, because it's talking all about the skill of Messi to be able to score those goals. And you'd use evidence from various games to say, okay, in this game against this team, he scored this many goals. In this game, maybe they didn't win, but of all the goals scored in the game, it was him who scored them. Or this one goal that he scored was completely against all the odds, but he made sure he was here at the right time, and it was like skill, luck, a miracle, etc., that he was there and he scored that goal. Do you see what I mean? So you're within a paragraph, we have thought along a theme almost, so along that one idea. Now, you would not include things that weren't relevant to that point in the paragraph. Why would you not do that? Exactly. So if it's irrelevant, it detracts from your point. It detracts from the argument and it weakens it. So when you're writing a persuasive essay, you want to make your argument as strong as possible, because the aim is to persuade your reader to change their mind. Okay, where are we going to go from here? So when it comes to that, so sentence structure. So in persuasive essay writing, you will actually be focusing more on longer, more developed sentences for now. So the length is about, have you accurately articulated your thought? So this is about adequately and accurately meaning enough. So adequate means, yeah, have you done enough? So adequately and accurately stated what you want to say. You can use short sentences, but when it comes to persuasive essay writing, because it's an academic form of writing, it's not creative in the writing a story creative. Yeah. It could be. So rhetorical, yeah, you can use rhetorical questions actually in a persuasive essay. There's no reason why you can't. You use them for effect to shock an audience, but they don't have to be short. They can be developed sentences, because if you have a thought that's more complicated, you need to give more words to it so that you can accurately define it. But we're going to get, so what I want you to do from the beginning, because we're still at the very beginning of learning to write essays, I want you to think very, very much about, how can I use the word that describes what I'm thinking the most accurately. And actually, at this point, I don't care if it sounds boring. In the beginning, I'd rather it's clean, clear, but boring. Just as long as it's understandable. Because once you get the hang of the structure, then we can start using things like tension words. We can use a much more sophisticated way of structuring our language to make it more interesting. And we're going to look at some examples as well as we go to see how we can develop our writing. But for now, it's let's get basics first. Just like if you taught me how to play football, because I cannot play football, what would be the first thing you taught me? Exactly. So this is how can you control your ideas and put them in a logical structure so that someone else can actually understand them. So what we're doing is we're learning to control the ball in this point, basically. So your reader needs to understand your point. This is incredibly important, because if they don't understand your point, they can't be persuaded. So this is why we start with basics, because if you try to be too clever in the beginning, because you're trying to make it sound really fancy, sometimes you can lose the meaning, and that defeats the object, which is persuade your reader of something. And order to make sure your reader can understand it, we want correct spelling, punctuation of grammar. So yes, we still need that. We need a good use of language to show your point. And correct sentence structure, paragraph structure, so that our ideas don't get all confused. Because it's like, when you speak with a friend and they're telling you a story, and then they jump all over the place and they go from the end to the beginning to the middle, back to the beginning to the end. And you're just like, hang on a second, slow down, start at the beginning, please. It's the same with an essay. You need to begin at the beginning and you need to end at the end. So you state what you're going to talk about, and then you talk about it, and then in the conclusion, you sum everything up. That is essay basics. Now we're going to look at a bit more in depth into the structure of an essay, and then we'll do like a practice essay plan, actually, and we'll see how that works. Thanks for watching this lesson and joining me. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did, please leave a comment or leave me a question if you've got more questions. Just before I go, if you're interested in learning more about essay writing, I've written a blog series all about each step of the process of writing an essay. So that goes from brainstorming the question to researching, planning, then analysing information. You've got notes on how to plan an essay, how to edit and proofread. So if you have any questions or want to know more, check out the other videos, but also check out the blog series on modactutoring.co.uk. Go to the free resources button at the top on the menu, and then you will see all the articles. Or check the link below, and I've linked it in the description.